Hey, welcome to Unlock Life, and this is Jennifer here. So, I'm here to talk to you guys about probability and chance. Now, why am I talking about probability? So, there's a lot of people that will say they can't do something, and they think they can't do something because they think, oh, the probability of that is really low. The likelihood of success is really low. And what I want to actually point out to everybody that thinks that way is there's so many factors to probability. Well, for first of all, um, the probability that you see in some ways will never happen to you. And by that I mean, say if you have one in, I don't know, a million chance of winning the lottery. You can buy a million tickets. It doesn't mean you're going to win the lottery. No, and you're gonna see people buying tickets like once in their life and only, and they still win the lottery. So it's not a matter of how many times you end up buying that ticket. It just means that yes, success rate is much, it's much lower, but it doesn't mean that you're that statistic. So that statistics in some ways applies and it doesn't apply. Now, with the lottery, it's not simpler. It's just, well, which number are you picking, and if you're going to buy the ticket, and that's sort of the only variables that really comes in. Now, if we're talking about anything else, whole different story. Like, say for example, if you're looking at starting your own business, how much effort you put in, how much you hustle, how much you learn, what do you need to know. There's all these things, whether you're networking, whether you're building the right product, whether you're iterating correctly. There's so many things and factors that play into the probability of success. And at that point, yes, we know, we all heard that, running a small business success rate is extremely low. And every, I don't know, one, maybe 10 business or something like that fails within the next year to 2 years, or first year or 2 years. And it makes perfect sense. Now, the question is, how much effort are you putting into it? Are you going to be the statistic that fail, or are you going to be the statistics that actually succeed? And that you actually have certain control over. So at that point, it's not really about, are you that 1 out of 10, or are you that, the failure group? It's what are you actually putting in, and when you do fail, or if you do fail, what are you actually doing about it? Because if you keep trying, at some point you're gonna hit something right if you're learning and you're constantly moving forward. But if you just say, "Oh, I'm just that statistic," yeah, you're always gonna fail. It's like the mindset. It's like the last video about perception. It's your perception sets it already. So if you have a perception of I'm going to fail, or I'm going, the success rate is really low, so who knows if I'm going to succeed or not. That's not a very good mindset into going into anything that you want to succeed in. The mindset you really need to take is, this is what I want. I'm willing to put in the effort for it, and I'll do what it takes to sort of get to that point. And when you have that starting mindset first, the probability and the statistics, they're only a reference point on how much work you end up having to do. And it's not a matter of how much, how likely is your success. It doesn't work that way. But it does tell you that, okay, the lower the success rate, the harder you need to work at it. The possibly more obstacles you need to overcome and challenges you need to overcome. And if you take that attitude, I guarantee you, anything you do or anything you want, if you're willing to commit to it, you're not going to be that probability. Okay? And I mean, really, it's a matter of how much do you want it and what are you willing to sacrifice. Because at the end of the day, we all know at some point we all need to give. So, I would say take reference on the statistics, remember the probabilities, but don't take them to heart, because it's not. If you think you're just that average person, we all know that really average you may or may not be, and frankly, it doesn't matter. So don't let it get to you. Keep going, and I'm sure you'll find your dream. Sorry, one more thing I wanted to add more before I leave. So norms. Remember what they say? I mean, you don't have to be the norm. Just because everybody else does it one way doesn't mean you can't do it another way. And just because everyone works a certain way, it doesn't mean you work the same way too. So, my advice to you is don't necessarily have to follow the norm, because what's norm may not work for you. And I mean, even normal norms, shall we say for example, there's a lot of people that work 9 to 5 jobs and they're comfortable, and that's actually probably the norm. Now, here's the thing: given the volatile economy and the state of sort of the way society is, and just overall unstableness and uncertainty in the future, being the norm of being this sort of so-called stable really doesn't necessarily serve you. And from a security standpoint, it may or may not even work for you. So don't necessarily have to follow it. If it works for you, then go for it. But if it doesn't, try to find something that's your own. Because I guarantee you, whatever suits you may or may not suit everybody else. So forget about the norm. Just be yourself. Anyways, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys soon.